What's going on, guys? It's good to see everybody again. It's been 2 weeks. We had to reschedule last week, and I missed you guys, but excited to be here tonight. Very glad that you are all with us. Tonight we are streaming on YouTube at Squadron TV and also at the Squadron Facebook Live. And we're also streaming to the Free Time Hobbies Facebook Live tonight. So wherever you are watching from, I appreciate you being with us. We've got a good show planned for tonight. Got a couple of buddies here with me tonight, Martin and Chris. They're backstage waiting. Glad to have you guys with us, and we're gonna have a good time going through this really nice kit from Magic Factory. Looking forward to opening it up, checking it out, and seeing what's inside. A few things to do before we get started. As always, I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. So Henry and Alan, hey guys, and Ted, Joseph, Randy, Wes, Frank, Brian, Rob. Who else do we have? Crazy. So many. I don't want to go through everybody, and my screen's mixing up. I see a lot of people from Facebook and YouTube, and it's throwing it off. I don't know what it's doing, but hopefully that'll sort itself out in a minute. So I see Jason in there and Greg. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Before we get started too much, I want to let you know that this kit, I got some early copies. A good buddy of mine, Tony. And Tony, I understand you're watching with us tonight. So it's great to see you. He's coming all the way from China, checking it out with us tonight. But he got 3 of these for us. He was loading our containers and snagged 3 of them out and airmailed them over to us so that I've got a copy, Chris has got a copy, and Martin's got a copy. So we can all check this thing out together and let you guys know what's in the box. The container that has the rest of them that will allow us to fill the pre-orders will be here in a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed, maybe the first week of February, maybe the second if things get delayed, like seems to happen far too often. But they are soon. They'll be here very soon. Another exciting thing that we're not going to talk about much tonight, but I do have to show you the 350th scale Midway. These are finally close to being here. I did a video on this, a what's in the box video earlier today, and I will be posting that tomorrow on the YouTube channel. It's not live, but make sure to check that out. This kit's really nice. I'm looking forward to building it. I hope you are too. Make sure to get one of those on pre-order with us. Those will also be here in February. First or second week, hopefully. So make sure you've got those on pre-order so you don't miss out. You can be one of the first ones to get those. Very exciting kit. I've been waiting for it for a long time. Another 350th scale ship. Tonight's all about ship models, by the way, if you hadn't figured that out yet. But another ship model that I'm excited about is the HMS Naiad that's coming from Trumpeter. That is part of their January releases. Now, of course, released in China in January. It's going to take a month or two for them to get here. And with the Chinese New Year's coming up, I don't know how that's going to affect shipping and containers and such. We always have to deal with that at the beginning of each year. And basically what that means is nothing comes or goes from over there for a few weeks. But nonetheless, the Naiad will go on pre-order on our Squadron and our Free Time Hobbies websites tomorrow. So make sure to jump in there and grab one of those. Just some really exciting things. Our next container that we've been talking about for a little while shows up tomorrow. It's got a lot of good stuff on it. The 35th scale border models Akagi bridge and flight deck is in there. Not the one with the cape. That's coming in a couple of weeks, but just the flight deck. I've got that coming. I've got the new V Hobby 700 scale Clevelands. They're in there. Several different things in the ship model world will be received tomorrow that we've been looking forward to. So check it all out and make sure to get them on order. This is some exciting times to be a ship modeler for sure. So let me go ahead and bring Chris and Martin in here, and let's go ahead and start diving into this Ford kit and see what we've got. Hey guys.
What's up?
Hey, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. How are you guys tonight?
Good.
Well, good. So you got your copies of the Ford kits. I hope that I hope you got those and we're excited about them. Um, what are your first thoughts about it? First of all, is this even a ship that's interesting to you? Is it something that you would, if I hadn't twisted your arms to get an early copy of it, is this something that you would even be interested in doing? First of all, is this kind of your thing?
I do World War II or World War One when I'm actually building.
Right?
Um, but the idea of any enterprise is, of course, going to be fascinating and something that I
Yep.
want to buy. This particular kit, among modern aircraft carriers, I think it's one of the more attractive examples. Um, and I mean, it's a pretty decent sized ship.
Oh yeah.
Compare it to a ship that I am currently catching all kinds of grief for never finishing, a Tamiya USS Saratoga. Martin, that's for you. But I would honestly consider building this.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm the same way, and I think maybe a lot of us are. The World War II stuff is certainly what most of my stash probably consists of. But there's something to me, something interesting about this, that it is our Navy's current
Mhm.
carrier. They are brand new. There are still new ones being built. I believe the Enterprise is being built. So if I was going to build one, I would certainly be building the Enterprise. Um, but that's the interest to me. I like you mostly build World War II stuff, but this is interesting because it's what we're currently using. It's our latest, greatest. So, what about you, Martin?
It's an attractive looking ship for a modern ship like Chris. I'm more of a World War One, World War II guy, but it's a good looking ship, and I mean, it kind of looks like a hot rod with that island all the way back, and all.
Yep.
It kind of you almost expect the bow to go up in the air as it
Yep.
hits full speed. I mean, it is a good looking ship, and it's certainly not to offend anybody, but it's a lot better than the British carrier that just was launched a few years ago. And
It
it's a
is.
good looking ship, and it's I think a lot of people who are into the hobby and like to collect these things, they're definitely going to want this in their collection, especially to go with those, enterprises and orange hobby midways and stuff like that. It'll be a nice companion piece and stuff like that. Definitely, I would have thought about it, but like you said, you twisted my arm, so here it is.
I feel
Well,
like the Arleigh Burkes, they're pretty ships, and among modern warships, it has a refined look to it. I think hot rod's a really, really good way to put it.
yeah, that is true. It needs like a wheelie bar on the back.
Jeez.
Uh, yeah, and speaking of Arleigh Burks, Martin, you recently finished up a review for us that you posted at modelwarships.com. So anybody that's interested in this, www.modelwarships.com, in the reviews section, you will see the USS Curtis Wilbur review, which is an Arleigh Burke class. I Love Kit was the brand on that. It is 1/200 scale, so it's very large. Martin just finished up a review on that, so head over there, check that out. It's a nice kit, and he has
Very nice
passed
kit.
it on to another friend of ours that is going to be building it. So once that's complete, I'll be posting pictures so you can see how the kit turns out. The gentleman that is building it is he's pretty good, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
seeing it.
IPMS National's Best in Show winner
Yep.
at one time, so he's quite talented.
Yep. Yeah. So he's the man for the job. So Martin did a great job reviewing the kit, and his buddy Keith, my buddy Keith too, will be doing a great job building it. Looking forward to seeing that soon. So just more ship model news for the evening. So all right. Well, let's take a look at this thing. Let's see. Let me pull up. Where are you? I'm working on a new computer here that I am not used to. So let's see. All right. So here's what we're talking about. This is the Magic Factory is the brand on this. And if you are not familiar with Magic Factory, don't worry. They're a new company, relatively new. They've been around for at least a year, maybe 2 years. One of their first kits that I was aware of, perhaps it's not their very first, but the one that really stuck out to me, and all of a sudden I knew who they were. They did a 35th scale Iron Dome artillery or missile thing, and that came out, I don't know, I guess that was a couple years ago. And they also did some 350th scale modern Chinese something or another. I'm not familiar with what those are.
And a pair of Corsairs in 48 scale, I believe, too.
Well, that's where I was going. So then they did a little bit more obscure things, I guess you would say. But then last year, 2023, they did a 48 scale Corsair, and it was a 2-pack. You got 2 planes in the pack. And that's what put them on the map, at least in my opinion, and for Squadron and for our customers. That's really what put them out there, because that's a very nice kit. And of course, it's 48 scale and it's Corsairs. So that really put them out there. And then when they announced this, that finished off getting my attention, because it's a good ship subject. They've got a lot of other stuff planned. I know they've got I think it's a Skyhawk coming sometime this year in 48 scale. So that's going to be really nice. But anyway, Magic Factory, new brand out of China. As far as quality goes, this is my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think, but my overall opinion of their quality, if you've built any of the TACOM, the Ming, border models, Amusing Hobby, all of these relatively new companies from over there, this is another one that just fits right in with them as far as quality. The new ways they're doing these toolings and such, just really nice. So absolutely nothing wrong with the quality, in my opinion, but I want to hear from you guys.
Go ahead, Martin.
I was waiting for you, but yes, no, I agree. I mean, what I see in the box is really nice. I mean, just off the bat, what I really like is the way it's packaged. I mean, it's really securely packaged. You've got the really nice color call outs for the aircraft, for the ship, for the decals on the top of the box. And then just the way they've done this plastic insert that protects everything, protects the deck, because the deck's got a lot of very delicate protrusions coming off of it, and everything is underneath this big plastic piece, which just secures everything from getting damaged in transit. And I think it's really, really thoughtful. And you can see the edges of the deck have these little protrusions everywhere. That was loose in the box, or even maybe wrapped in plastic, it would probably get damaged. So kudos to them on a really good job. Really good first impression.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate the fact. So, like, looking at the bulbous bow on this thing, and I'm trying to make sure I'm actually in screen. You look at a lot of ship parts, and the Arizona stern being a good example within ship modeling. That's a very complex machining piece, and you get these simplified versions in a lot of kits. And I do feel like that Magic Factory took the time to look at parts of the vessel that needed to be modeled independently to provide the maximum amount of detail and fit. I mean, I took off one of the sponsons just because I was curious about fit. And if you guys excuse me for 1 second, I mean, when you put the tabs in, it fits to the hull relatively well with a minimum amount of actual sanding. But to have this separate from the actual kit, where you have this nice streamlined hull, is useful, because you can get those details on the actual ship and not lose them. Like we see portholes on trumpeter on certain manufacturers' kits that are drilled like that directly into the hull versus looking like an actual porthole. So I appreciate that attention to realism that it looks like the company's bringing into it.
Yeah, and just in case anybody's wondering, the front of that lower hull, the reason that's notched out is that front piece there is a separate piece in the kit. They didn't. That's not misformed.
Which is really nice too.
Oh yeah.
And you see in Brendan's example, can you go back to the full hull?
Oh yeah. Hold on.
So you put the lightest amount of pressure, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
So like some masking tape, or just a matter of even just some hand pressure with some liquid cement, and this hull will have an almost invisible hull line. Mm-hmm. Enough for you to put tape on there if you want to mask it off. And that's
Yeah, the fit's really good. There's almost, just dry fitting it, there's almost, there's hardly a seam, and that's without any glue and just putting a little pressure on it. So
can I use the dirty word, fly hawk? mean, that's
I didn't hear anything.
Right.
It reminds me of those kits.
Oh yeah. And you were talking about, let me get back over to it. You were talking about the way that this thing is packaged. I really like this. So this is what you look at, or what you see when you open it, or actually, let's see. This is what you see. So that's what it looks like when you open the box. You've got this big plastic thing, but you pull the top plastic out, and then up under the plastic that holds the hull and the deck, it's kind of just a normal kit that you would expect. But that plastic carrier, it's just really nice. It's just something that you don't normally see. It gives a very nice presentation to the kit. It was a nice surprise, I guess I should say, when I opened the box.
Can we talk about the great little aircraft? I mean, the Super Hornets are fantastic. They're well molded. They're slide molded from, based on where the tabs are located. It's a minimum of cleanup on these guys. The landing gear are acceptable for the scale. Photo etch would obviously be beneficial for it, but in general, they're still very good. If you do look at the actual landing gear pictures, and Brandon, I'm going to try to put this up on my screen, but
go for it.
Please bring it up. Sorry guys. This is not the wheel. The wheel is this tiny little like blob down here. So.
Oh yeah, you talking about? That's not the right picture.
This is
there we go.
Yeah. So you can see how tiny that little wheel is.
Yeah, this out here, that's just the casting. Whatever.
That's like nano dread levels of detail there, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got some F-35s, which also look really good, and some UAVs, which I'm going to admit completely, this is not my area of expertise or even basic understanding. The only issue I see with them is something you see in the instructions is the props on what I assume is like a little reconnaissance UAV. Looks very large in the instructions, but when you look at the actual kit, they're pretty well on scale. Like your Mark 1 eyeball would not tell the difference between this and photo etch, which is nice for an out-of-box kit. Really nice for an out-of-box kit.
Yeah, the level of detail that these guys are able to get now out of plastic parts is just so different than even 5 and 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, the level of detail is just really nice. There's a lot of, and Chris, I know you wanted to talk about the flight deck.
Yeah.
But outside of, and I won't steal your thunder there, but outside of that, I mean, some of the detail on the bulkheads, on the sponsons, there's all this great, detail on here where, it's very subtle. And for those guys who like to do pin washes and weathering, a lot of this detail is going to pop really nicely once this kit is built.
Agreed.
There's a tremendous amount of little openings with little vents and other stuff. It's really well done.
Well, even if you just do like a basic blast of paint, right? Like people that may want to do I don't want to say the bare minimum, but they want to just make something look nice on a shelf in their house, right?
Mm-hmm.
The detail alone, just the effects of natural light on it are impressive.
Oh yeah.
The details can be somewhat deep, and it's something we talked about before the show, but at the same time, like, it doesn't look bad. Like, if I'm trying to sit here and nitpick, I'd wish the details were slightly more shallow, or that there was some offering that was more flat for an eventual photo etch deck. But I mean, truth be told, it's a really nice looking kit overall, and the details right now are not atypical from what you see in most modeling. I mean, overall, I mean,
there you go.
Those
There's
people
your
that
picture of the deck.
push the heat out of the box. This is not a bad build out of the box.
Well, that magnification is going to make it look a lot deeper than it is. I think to scale, a flight deck guy would probably break an ankle in those tie down markings. But once you put the decals on it and you wash it and give it some weathering, I think it'll definitely a coat of paint will tone it down a little bit. The arrestor wires, some people might want to scrape those off, but those look pretty nice for injection molding.
I'm not gonna lie, Martin. Like looking at them in the light right now, like just kind of playing with them in the light that I have shining on my nasty face, like they look really good. They look like stretched sprue.
Yeah, they look really. Those arresting wires look really good.
I like them.
So do the sheaves might be a little. I think that's what they're called. The little round things on either end. they might be a little proud, but
Yeah.
I think that's a function of injection molding. There's not much you can be able to do there.
I think if I were to nitpick, and there are a couple of times I'll mention this just because I do like super detailing things. Yeah, I'd like a photo etch deck that I could, tack on top of this. But that's me working into detail because I want things and I'm obsessed with scale. Michael, yes, there are deck details that come with the kit. If you give me 1 second, guys, I can go ahead and pull those out. They're still in the bag, but there are significant numbers of deck details. Decals, excuse me.
Yeah, I've got. If you want to transition to decals, I'll pull those pictures up. Yeah, and Chris, you're talking about you would like a photo etch deck, and I get it. But considering the deck is such a huge part of this particular kit, say you're just going to be fine with the plastic deck, so that's off the table. What about everything else? Because everything else is so nicely molded. I mean, outside of, I don't know, maybe some stuff up on the bridge. I don't know. I can't think of what has to be photo etch.
There's
You know what I'm
nothing on
saying?
this kit that has to be. Just to make that clear, I mean, I take a resin hull and I will cut it to pieces and add styrene to make it more accurate. So,
Right.
I mean,
Yes,
my bias is definitely I like things a certain way, but if I were to want to build a kit of this carrier that looks fantastic, and that would impress 99.99% of the people, what's in the box is perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the decals, I don't know if you all can see this, but for the squadrons alone, this is for scale purposes. That's my finger. I mean,
Right.
These are incredibly detailed. They're incredibly fine, and they're going to look fantastic.
Yeah, and it's got quite a bit of decal stuff. Just all sorts of stuff, and it's really nicely printed too.
Yeah, the quality of these decals is really good.
Let me go back. I've got an overall picture somewhere in here of all.
You just
the
passed the deck
decals.
decals.
I've got this one. Here you go. Those are the 2 decal sheets.
It's pretty extensive. I mean, it's really extensive.
It really is. I mean, that's not going to be a 5-minute job.
No, those are. I mean, I remember, Martin, correct me if I'm wrong. Like a couple of years ago, a decal sheet like that would have run you $50.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that alone is fantastic. Brandon, can you go to the stern of the actual carrier?
Go to what, Chris?
The very stern of the carrier.
Oh yeah, hold on. Getting the. Oh yeah, and while I'm scrolling through, it does have the one piece of photo etch too. So,
yeah, the only thing missing is railings for around the sponsons and stuff. Otherwise, people have to source that. And honestly, for everything else that's included, they should have included railings. I mean,
they should have, because it wouldn't have been that much rails. But
yeah,
I guess the good thing is most of us probably have plenty of extra.
Plenty in the stash, yeah. Or you can buy gold medal models railings from some squadron.com place.
That's correct.
Hey, Brandon, you completely passed it. Go back.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Yeah, who shops at Squadron?
I don't know.
My wife gets mad at me for that place. It's a dirty word around the house.
Which picture did you want me to pull up, Chris?
The one that looks like that, the very stern of the ship, because it's nicer than what I can put on the live stream.
I'm not. The way this is making me do this, I can't go straight to a picture, and I apologize.
Well, while we're coming up to
everybody's probably seeing all these pictures. Hey, stop! I want to see that one. There it was.
Okay.
I feel like I'm watching Toy Story, and you're the pig trying to go through the.
All right, there you go.
So I guess what impressed me when I actually looked at this kit was I decided to grab a ruler, and there was a picture of the stern of the Ford where you're looking right back toward it. And I have an idea of how wide the ship is at this point. Sink marks are not an issue with this kit. Just Frank, I want to get into that later, but I was really impressed with that. These little windows here are reproduced exactly in the same size and scale on the kit as they were in the actual ship. Or are in the actual ship. And for a modern injection kit of a vessel that they don't even have plans for, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have plans for it.
Well, they probably shouldn't, but they do, maybe. Regarding sink marks, there are some kits out there that on the flight deck, they had some pretty embarrassing sink marks that made completing certain parts of the vessel very difficult. But, I looked at the actual flight deck included, or the hangar deck included, and I'm not sure how well you all can see this, but there's nothing. All the times I've seen sink marks, I'm going to kind of reflect this in my light so you can see them, are on bits that you will never, ever see. So
yeah, same thing on the bottom of the main flight deck too. They're there, but you'll never see them because this deck will go underneath the flight deck. So you'll have the top of your hangar deck here with ribbing to make it look like the support struts, and you'll never, it's nice that they include a hangar deck and it's boxed in, and the deck has detail, and the overhead has detail too. It's a really nice touch.
Would you all disagree that I feel like this kit was put together by people that have actually built models and want to care about what's coming?
Sorry.
Sorry. It's all right.
No, I was not disagreeing with you by cutting you off. I pushed the wrong button. Yes, I think that I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. And Chris, I'm going to let you explain it since you're the one that brought it up. Frank wants to know what you mean by sink marks.
Oh, sure.
And I will try to show mine here.
So during injection, you'll see these tiny little circles that are a little bit of a depression on the actual vessel.
They're also known as knockout pins.
Yes.
It's just part of the injection process. It has to be there for the parts to be able to come out of the molds.
And usually you've seen on a lot of vessels and a lot of just kits in general where they're in places that aren't necessarily advantageous to making the kit look nice. And it looks like overall this kit has placement where you're never going to see them. I mean, if you look at the part Martin mentioned, there are a couple that are between the scaffolding here. But if you have a ship that's turned over like this, you're never going to see this.
All right.
Even if you light it up, you're never going to see this.
Yeah, if you've ever been building a model, whatever it is, and you're going through, getting it ready, and all of a sudden there's just this spot on it, and you're like, why is that there? It's probably something that has to do with the manufacturing part. It's the same concept as a lot of people talk about, put seams in natural places. Well, what they've done with this by sticking it on the bottom of the deck that you're never going to see, they've done the same thing. They've put it somewhere where it's not going to make you have to clean it up to finish your model.
If I may show something, I don't know how well y'all can see this. I'm trying to reflect this in the light. But if you see where there's little 20 millimeter guns, and there's some spots right behind it, right there, you do have more mainstream kit manufacturers. And this is an older kit, but it's also a very nice kit where you still see those. And you can cover those up with additional guns or little crew members or whatever else you want to do to make it look like a realistic representation of a day-to-day ship. But to me, I feel like Magic Factory spent a lot of effort to hide all that, so you didn't have to do that.
Yeah. There's
the
a lot.
The engineering looks pretty thoughtful too. The way they did all the pockets and the sponsons and stuff like that. They should be easy to paint, before you even get them in there. Like you'll be able to do some pre-painting before you assemble it.
Here's one thing that is interesting, because I've had a couple of customers that just simply don't know, and I didn't know either until I figured it out. How big does this kit compare to a 700 scale Nimitz kit? And I have the deck of the Ford and a deck from a Nimitz from Trumpeter. They are identical.
Wow.
They are exactly the same length and just about exactly the same width. Obviously set up slightly different as far as where the elevators and such are, but they are extremely close as far as the overall size. So if you're wondering about, hey, am I going to have enough space on my model shelf for this? If you've got a Nimitz, then that's how much space you need to display a Ford class carrier.
Well, I think the main difference between the Nimitz and the Ford is all the technology upgrades. Some of the where they located the island and the elevators, but with the new catapults and the new weapons elevators and
A tiny little island in the back now.
yeah, the hot rod. So it's it's a leap in technology more than there's no reason to make it any bigger than it is.
Right.
So kind of a fun fact I was reading about when I was talking about which of these ships I want to build. The USS Enterprise Ford class is going to have 20,000 pounds of the nuclear-powered Enterprise's steel recycled into the ship. She will also have several portholes from CV6. So the Navy is really respecting the history of that vessel. And I was speaking to a friend of mine over at the Pensacola Naval War Museum, and they may take her wheel and use it on the new Enterprise for a short period of time.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, if you guys want to build a Ford as an Enterprise, like the degree that the Navy is respecting the history of that name is really impressive.
Yep. And
let's not forget the Kennedy in there too. There's in between Ford and the Enterprise, the Kennedy's very deep in her construction right now.
Yes, 78 is Ford and 79 is Kennedy, right?
Yes.
And then 80 is Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Now I would assume that Magic Factory will probably release this as at least one, if not both, of those two carriers as well, with different box art and different decals, and I don't know what other differences there may be, but I would assume that down the road, I don't know if it'll be later this year or when, but you got to figure that they're going to do that. Why would you not take the opportunity to put a box with the USS Enterprise name on it?
I'm not going to lie. If I get down to the Newport News shipyards, even if I'm at a distance with binoculars, I'm going to be there in 2025 to watch her get launched.
Nice. All right. Well, so I'm going to scroll through these pictures that I've been flying through. We'll scroll through them a little slower this time. So this is a layout of all the plastic sprues that are in the kit. So this is everything you're getting. And where did it go? There it is.
It's a big kit. There's a lot of parts, but I don't think it shouldn't be overwhelming.
No,
even for an average modeler like myself.
It's very intuitive.
I mean, yeah, it looks like it's pretty thoughtfully engineered, and while there's a lot of parts, you guys should get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I don't think it's shouldn't be beyond most people's skill set.
Yep, I think you're right. I mean, it's one of those that anybody can build it, but then guys like us that want all the detail you can get, we get to take advantage of that as well. So I don't want to call it a beginner kit.
Oh, no, not at all.
But at the same point in time, I think a beginner could absolutely build this.
Yes.
So you get best of both worlds there.
I think if I were to look at this kit from a personal point of view and my general build style, if I did this out of the box, it'd be recreational. I mean, it would meet my expectations of the detail that I want to see on my shelf.
Right.
But it would be relaxing.
Sure.
Everything on this kit makes sense. The breaking, where they've broken the parts up makes sense. Where they've chosen to include a separate piece makes sense. The bulbous bow, the tail fins on the aircraft, the sponsons, the way the island's broken up, the way because the island's broken up, the way that it's broken up.
The way the catwalks are broken up too. The catwalk, the catwalks go on almost last, so you won't be damaging them.
It's an intelligently designed kit, and it looks like something that someone built who's actually spent the time to build a model kit in the past.
Yeah, and the good thing about that is that speaks volumes to Magic Factory, and we can hope that they've got a lot of good subjects coming down the line. But after seeing this, and after you guys get yours in a few weeks and get it on your modeling table and start going through it, you'll realize, hey, this company, they know what they're doing. So that way, when they release whatever they're going to announce at some point, if that's something that you're interested in, we don't have to worry about quality. We know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like any model, like on the mast, there's some, on the tops of the mast, there's some mold seam lines where the mold was released, but sharp hobby knife will take that right off. I mean, I don't see anything, like Chris was saying, I don't see any big sinkholes. I don't see any, I don't see any flash. I
Right.
don't, the type of stuff that in this day and age you shouldn't see, but sometimes you see from some manufacturers, and it's aggravating because they should know better. I don't see any of that on this kit.
Well, it's like Martin knows this very well, and to the point that me and my close friends have made fun of me about the fact that I haven't built a kit in a long time, which is why I brought up the Saratoga and use it as a prop. This is a kit that I could use as someone who wants to have a significant amount of detail, weathering, and effort put into it. This is something I could use to reinvigorate my love of the hobby. This is something that has the detail that is necessary for it to look like a real ship. Sorry. While at the same time being recreational.
Right.
I mean, there's stuff on the mast that, yeah, if I was going to super detail it, I might replace with photo etch. Some of the supports, I'm just kind of looking at Sponson J or Sprue J right now. There's some scaffolding that I especially along the hull that I'd like to make brass, but in general, like if you all can see this, you probably can't see very well, but this is really fine for a 700 scale kit. I mean, you've got the slide molding little bits where you inject the plastic, and I'd be worried really sick about actually damaging the structure itself when I'm separating it because it's so fine. I mean, Magic Factory does a good job of making that line really obvious, but it does really, it builds upon the fact that they did a very good job designing this kit. I mean, I don't see the need on the prop shafts to replace them with brass. I mean, they really look nice.
Right. Well, and you're talking about building it for fun and, jumping back into it and just having a good time with it. Alan brings up a good point here. It's all fun and games till you get to that decal set. That's not going to be a simple one evening job. That is a lot
It's a
of
multi-night
decal.
job.
Yeah. That is a lot of decaling. That is a lot of lining up straight lines. It's part of it. It's part of doing an aircraft carrier, but I think I might agree with Alan here that might be the most time consuming part of this build.
Make sure you lay down a good gloss coat first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Find a replacement for future if you don't have multiple bottles of it.
I found a good replacement for future.
We'll talk about that after this.
I need
Mine's
that.
turning yellow right now.
It's better than future.
I don't
Ah,
believe you, but we'll talk.
Of course you don't believe me. You're a millennial.
Really?
all right. Well, you got to spill the beans, Martin. What's the replacement for future?
Well, now I'm gonna have to go get it.
Okay,
all right.
brother.
Well,
I had to. I'm sorry.
they used to sell our first store in Blue Ridge, the Freetime Hobby store. We were in that shopping center, and there was a I forget the name of it, but there was a grocery store right next to us in the next suite, and I used to go right next door and buy my future. Quick Shine.
Yep, works great. I did some research online, which could always be dangerous. But actually, the guys from Fine Scale tested a bunch of
Yeah.
a bunch of different products, and they love this one. I tried it. Puts down a really hard, glossy shine. Very nice. I've used it on a couple kits. Works really well.
Well,
But does it
hopefully
hurt
it's
you to
available.
change the way you do things, Martin? Because I know that's what really bothers you.
When
I had to.
when it started getting around that future wasn't going to be available anymore, like several of my friends went to their local grocery store or hardware store, wherever they were buying it, and they bought them out. I had one guy that he sent me a picture, and his basement, he had dozens and dozens of bottles of future on his shelf in the basement. And I'm like, goodness, I don't know if I'll ever build that many models, but that's good to know, Martin. I'm going to have to go and see if my grocery store has that stuff where I used to buy future. Because
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. What was the paint line that was a railroad line from Testers? It was acrylic that they discontinued a while ago. Do you remember?
Model
The
Master.
Model Master?
Yeah. So not Model Master. The prior to that, they had 20B deck blue and acrylic, which was the only right 20B deck blue and acrylic. And I went to multiple hobby shops around the New Orleans area to buy it. So I can't. Yeah, I can't judge.
Yeah, I did that with the Testers enamels. I went to local hobby shops. When I see it, I buy it just to have it.
I don't blame you.
All right, so here's your paint guide and decal guide for the deck and all the planes. So they do a good job of pointing out where things go. So
You know what? The other thing that the note here is that, you get some of these aircraft carrier models and they give you 8 planes. There's a substantial amount of aircraft in this kit.
yeah,
I mean, there's 6 F-35s. There's a bunch of different Hornets. There's the Hawkeyes. There's the drones. There's a pretty good number of planes in here, considering, what you get. It's generous of them to put in all these aircraft. I mean, I think other manufacturers should do it, but it's worth noting that there's a good number of planes in here. So it's not like, I mean, that's a big flight deck.
right.
Yeah, you might want to get more planes for it, but out of the box, you can make your flight deck look pretty busy.
And speaking of what you just said, I need to ask them if they're going to sell these planes separately, because if you do want more, you might want them to match.
Well, and also consider these aircraft, if you go 3D printing or even just aftermarket styrene. I mean, to Martin's point, I'd say for 50% of this airwing, you're probably going to spend, what, 20, $30 on the actual planes. And that doesn't include photo etch.
Mhm.
And in a kit that retails for, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, $66.49 your website, $70.
Yeah, $66.49 is what we're pre-selling them for. Yeah.
For me, it's when I look at a kit like this, because I like a busy flight deck, that's enticing for me to buy it.
Right.
Because it means that's money I don't have to spend, because the kits, the aircraft included in the kit are really nice.
That's really, it's easy for me to say you sent me a kit gratis, but that's a really great price. I mean, the Trumpeter Nimitzes are more than that, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah. They
are. A lot of pricing has to do with how things get to where they're going. And, if shipping prices didn't exist, things would probably be a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
And different importers do different things. And so sometimes apples are not apples,
right.
if you know what I'm saying. But yes, that we are able to offer a pretty good price on this, and I'm very happy about that. So.
And, but we know that modelers are, shall we say, thrifty, and they're always looking for a bargain. So this, right out of the gate, this is a really great price.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Chris, you do make a good point about the planes. Teaser alert, the Midway kit, it includes planes, but probably not nearly as many as I was maybe expecting it to. Now, granted, Trumpeter, a large part of their product offering is selling aftermarket planes.
Right.
So, there you go. They want you to buy more planes. But you don't necessarily have to do that with this kit. So that is a very, very good point.
No, Brandon, as a quick aside, are the planes with the Midway clear plastic or regular plastic?
Give me a minute. We'll keep going. I'll pull up a picture. I'm pretty positive they were gray. I don't know if Trumpeter has completely stopped doing clear, but I don't know when was the last time you bought a pack of their planes. All of their planes, they've been redoing them in gray plastic.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yep. So all of the clear, I haven't seen any clear ones come in recently. We've probably still got some old back stock of the clear ones. But most of what I've seen coming in the warehouse lately have been gray.
So there's one in the chat asking about the UAV drones.
Oh,
this is one of
them?
them?
Yeah, I need to look over there on the chat, guys. I am sorry.
Guys, that's the backside. Sorry, Brandon. I'm trying to help as best as I can.
Please do. Yeah, if I'm missing something, please point it out, guys. I'm sorry about that in the chat. I'll try to pay a little bit.
I'm going to ask an idiot child question, but is that the only drone, or is this? Yeah. I think Brandon or Martin mentioned it earlier, but I think, your UAV, I'm not sure the model, just because I'm not really familiar with these aircraft.
So according to the paint guide, wait, here we go. According to the paint guide, they call it a Stingray.
Isn't that the refueling drone?
U.S. Navy refueling drone, yes. And then up here, they've got it painted but it's still refueling. So I guess there's just two different paint. Well, I'm not familiar with that thing at all, like whatsoever.
No, neither am I.
But that looks like it's the only drone in the kit now. Was there two of them on that sprue, or was there just one?
Hold on. Not seeing another drone among aircraft, but that could be missing it.
Well, it probably doesn't look like what you're expecting it to look like. That's not it. Is this it up here?
No,
Yeah,
that's the refueling drone.
Okay, well, that's the only one in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's two in the box.
And there's
aren't
two
there?
of them. Yeah, they're both on the same sprue.
Let me look.
Okay.
I mean, you're mentioning. Do you know what the sprue? Just Alan, do you know what the sprue number is, or I guess letter? Because I don't see another.
Sprue K is the drone.
Yeah. Aside from that, I don't see another drone.
Nope, that's got to be the only one. So there's 4 different aircraft: the drone, the F-35, the FA-18, and the
But there's different versions of the
whatever it's called, the big spirally top prop plane that I'm forgetting.
The
name all
Hawkeye?
of a sudden. Yes, the Hawkeye. I couldn't remember.
and there's two
the
different
name.
types of Hornets too. There's the 2-seaters and the looks like the single-seater
Okay.
because the canopies are bigger on sprue N than they are on sprue O.
No kidding. Look at that. Neat.
Ah. You know, when I laid these out, I didn't even realize that. I thought it was 4 sprues of the same Hornet.
Yeah, they're two different aircraft.
Okay, so you get 2 sprues of N, so 4 of those, and 2 sprues of O, 4 of those.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Huh. Somewhere back in the chat, I saw somebody mention that he was glad they had a paint guide, so he knows what color paint to get. So there you go. There's that. And that is a nice touch because, like for me, I try to get my colors as close as I can, but if I'm building a U.S. ship, I know which gray I'm going to over on my paint shelf. But a lot of times, if you're new to ship models or you haven't built one in a while, or maybe you haven't built any U.S. ships, you might not know what colors you need off the back of your hand. So this is pretty neat to have. And in here, they call out AK Interactive paint colors, Mr. Color, and then my personal favorite, Tamiya. And for me, if Tamiya makes it, I use it. But unfortunately, they don't always have the colors you need. But in this case, it looks like, according to Magic Factory, you can build the whole thing with nothing but Tamiya if you chose to. What kind of paints do you use, Chris, Martin?
Depends on the application.
Yeah.
Airbrushing to me is amazing.
Yeah.
But Vallejo, if I'm using just trying to hand paint stuff. I mean, it depends on the application.
Yeah.
And if I'm building ships or small silly figures.
Yep. Well, what about you, Martin?
I mostly use Sovereign color coats. That's my go-to paint for ships. Although with a modern carrier, I might do just Model Master neutral gray right out of the bottle for it's close enough for the modern color.
Now, the Sovereign stuff, is that what used to be the white ensign color coats?
Yes.
That's
Used to be the white ensign color coats. Now it's Sovereign color coats.
Okay.
And they make a match for flight deck gray, the hull color. So I mean, you can go the whole 9 yards, but you could probably get away with, like you said, either to me or if you like enamels like I do, you could use Model Master if you can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it. No, I have pretty much gone 100% acrylic, or in the case of Tamiya, acrylic lacquer. Just because for me, I try to use what I sell. That way, when people ask me how it works, I can give them a good answer. And it's just hard to get the enamel stuff anymore. I get a lot of people asking for it because we're all used to old Model Master. But now, thankfully, in the Tamiya, and Chris, if you like using Tamiya, they just recently released their LP series of colors. Have you seen those?
No.
All right, so you know their spray cans.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Their spray cans are full lacquer.
Their spray cans are amazing.
Yep. So their little bottles that we're used to, the X colors and the XF colors, are acrylic lacquer. however the heck that works. The LP colors are in the same jars as the XF colors, but they're full lacquer. In other words, they're the colors from their spray cans in little jars. So now you finally have a perfect touch-up color for your spray cans.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's just a nice little thing they did.
Their Tamiya's are amazing as airbrush paints. I love them. They're unmatched for the sense of how fantastic of coverage you get, lack of orange peel, ease of airbrushing.
Yep. And Tamiya's acrylic or lacquer, the answer, oddly enough, is both. Their X colors and their XF colors, they are advertised as acrylic lacquer. That is why you can, like for me, when I'm airbrushing, I don't know about you, Chris, but the little jars, you open them up and they're about 80% full.
Mm-hmm.
I top it off with, they've got their two different thinners. They've got the white top thinner, which is their acrylic thinner, and they've got the yellow top thinner, which is their lacquer thinner. Either one of them works. The lacquer thinner seems to cut it a little bit stronger, if that's the right way to say that. But it's really weird. It's acrylic lacquer, but their LP colors is all lacquer. So you can clean the acrylic lacquers up with water. You can't do that with the full lacquer. It's really weird. I don't get it. It hurts my brain.
I think they're alcohol based in the actual jars, and I'm not 100% sure in that because I use I do a lot of 3D printing as well, but I'll use my 90-ish% rubbing alcohol to clean up my airbrush after I paint with any Tamiyas.
Yep. Well, that's the acrylic side of it. That's why that works. It's the weirdest thing. Don't do that with their LP colors. It won't work. No. So I don't know. It's some crazy voodoo paint, I guess, but it works good. All right. Well, guys, does anybody else have anything in the live chat to talk about? And what about you guys? You got anything else outside of this thing that I've twisted your arm into talking about tonight, Martin? You've got any other ships that you're working on? Any exciting reviews? Any builds? You told me this week that you got you a room for Madison for the Nationals. Yep. So I'm going to get to see you in a few months. So that'll be nice. Are you building anything? Are you entering the contest this year?
Yes, I will be entering. I have some stuff done.
Okay.
And I'm hoping maybe to get working on a resin 3/5 scale battleship that I'm hoping to finish. But if it's done, it's done. If it's not, it's not. I have some other stuff to enter.
All right. Well, and I'll tell you this too. They, in addition to the normal contest this year, they are also having if I understand correctly, it's in a separate room, but they're having a display only area that they're trying. Nice. Yeah, they're trying to promote that pretty good. So I don't know if you've got some things that you don't necessarily want to enter to compete with, but if you've got room to bring them along, some other ship guys, I'm sure, would love to see your stuff. It's always beautiful.
Yeah, that was a big success at the Chattanooga Nationals in 2019. They had almost as many display models as they did in the categories.
Right.
So
right.
That was a lot of fun walking around looking at all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No pressure. Just bring them, put them on the table, have a good time. So
absolutely.
Well, that'll be nice. What about you, Chris? You coming?
Martin, should I answer this?
We know you're not coming.
Say what?
Okay.
So I have a Saratoga that's been sitting on my bench for a while. We moved recently into the new house, and I've just recently completed my downstairs room where I actually have the space to expand my hobby stuff. Most of my work now has been in the figures realm because I'm trying to improve my paint work. So with all the new painting techniques we've seen, even the ship world, Martin Crickman has named the guy who built that Lexington diorama that was beyond incredible.
Oh, Margin.
So yeah, Margin has this incredible series of techniques he got from the figure world that just really bring to life a 700 scale kit. So my goal has been improving my painting ability recently and understanding color and understanding scale and doing things that for me are photographic. Like if I want to look at a picture that's color from, I don't know, a quarter mile away, what would it look like? So painting has been kind of my baby, but I will finish Saratoga, Martin.
All
I
right.
promise.
Yeah, sure you will.
Not for Wisconsin, because I'm not going to make Wisconsin.
That's all right. Well, see you next year. It's in your
Well, there's
backyard.
plenty of model shows in the Virginia area, so
Well, if you ever come down, man, you can stay over here. We'll hang out, have a cigar.
I'll be at Old Dominion in February. I already booked my room down in
When in
right next to the
February?
battlefield.
When?
Old Dominion Open in Richmond in Virginia.
When?
End of February.
Oh crap! I'll be in Spain, dude.
Of course you will.
Sorry.
Well, traveler.
Yeah, well, you finish your Saratoga. Martin, you finished your Battleship. And guys, in the chat, I almost made it a whole show without mentioning my 35th scale Dora.
I can see it back there.
I know. I can't not mention
Oh, is that what
it
that
to
is behind? I was wondering what that was behind you.
Yeah. So I finally have it all, as one piece. All the sub-assemblies are coming together. So
Nice.
it'll be done one day. I'm just trying to...
Whale?
Huh?
Is that your white whale?
Well, I mean, you can call it whatever you want, I guess.
You're the kit you'll never complete, but you want to complete.
It's a running joke at the shop. See, years ago, I started this 72 scale German diorama that I was going to call Hitler's Toys, and it was going to have all the crazy one-off stuff that I find interesting, and it was all going to be centered around the 72 scale Dora. But believe it or not, I actually built and finished a 72 scale Dora, and I sold it to somebody that wanted it. So then it was the running joke that I was never going to finish this diorama. Well, earlier this year, or last year now, when we got these things in, I'm like, hey, guess what, guys? That 72 scale diorama just doubled in size. I'm doing it in 35th scale now. So the joke has started over. But maybe I'll finish it, and maybe I'll bring it to Madison if I can figure out how the heck to get it there.
Well, with your mobile hobby shop, I'm sure you'll have plenty of room.
Yeah, but look how many kits that's going to take up that I could be bringing to sell.
True.
But this is a way for you to show your brand. You have to ask yourself, if by demonstrating this beautiful, fantastic build, is that going to outpace the sales you'll make?
Well, I hope it's beautiful.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I hope to finish it, and I hope to bring it. And it's going to be a good show. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it.
Always looking forward to it.
Hopefully, I'll spend less money in your room than I did last year. I'm probably going to put one of Brandon's kids through college all on my own.
Stop messaging me when you're at model shows, Martin, to get me to buy stuff that you see, okay? That's all I'm asking. I'm already in trouble.
Yeah. Well.
Just wait till the box shows up the next day or so.
Yeah, so remember free. The word is free. I did not get in
Not
trouble.
everything in there was free, so.
Oh, crap. Well,
yeah, he'll send you a bill.
Models, Brandon, if you want to, be involved in my will, I've got like a wall of things. Thanks,
there you
Martin.
go.
Appreciate that.
Well, now it's going to be fun. You going to judge again Friday night?
Oh,
Martin,
yeah. That's my favorite part of the whole show. Really enjoy that. Hanging out with you guys and doing the judging. And it's a lot of fun. I feel like, if you really want to become a better modeler, you need to learn to judge because you really know, whether you like the IPMS system or not, it makes you a better modeler because you look for stuff that you never looked before. And even if you're an apprentice judge and just, tag along and you ask questions, it's well worth the experience. And besides, we have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it really is. It's probably, there's a lot of things I look forward to, but that is one of the things that I always look. People come by the booth all day long, and everybody wants to go out to dinner and stuff. And it's like Friday, nope, I'm out. I will be in the judges' room Friday night.
Yep, one of the highlights of the show for me.
Yep. So, well, cool. Well, guys, I really appreciate you being here with me tonight.
Happy to do so.
This was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again. I jokingly referred to the three of us as the ship guys in my marketing banner that I did. So we'll have to do it again.
Absolutely.
So there are lots of new ships coming out this year, some that have been announced, some that we'll get to announce soon. So I'm sure we'll be doing this before too long again.
It's the golden age of ship modeling.
That is true. That is true.
Well, it's good seeing y'all again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will let you go for now, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks again.
All right, man.
Good
Talk
night.
to you soon.
Good night.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I hope that this answered all your questions, or at least most of them, about this new Ford kit. And as interesting as this kit is, the carrier itself, I hope it also answers some questions for you about who Magic Factory is, because they are a new company. They've got a lot of kits planned, and we're excited about them. So stay tuned for what they have coming up. They're doing aircraft, they're doing ships, they're doing 35th scale armor subjects. We've got a new Bradley that they're doing in 35th scale coming out here in the next couple of weeks. Uh, just lots of cool stuff that they've got planned. So stay tuned to those guys. I think they're going to have some really good home run kits this year. So, like I said, I've got a lot of things coming tomorrow in a container. You probably saw, if you've got pre-orders for any of the new, well, not new, the re-released Kitty Hawk items, 32 scale Kitty Hawks like the Kingfisher or any of their other planes or the helicopters. I sent out invoices on the pre-orders for those today, so look for those in your inbox. If you've got one on pre-order and you did not see an invoice, give me a call tomorrow because those are going to be ready to ship tomorrow. Several other things, I can't even remember what all's coming at the moment, but lots of exciting things. I'm sure I'll have some new videos to post, some new products. I will post the Midway video tomorrow, and then in addition to this video, on the Ford, I also have created my standard what's in the box video for the Ford that is basically a shortened version of this, just showing you pictures and videos of the sprues. So I'll be posting that probably on Friday. So stay tuned for that. And that's about it for now. I'll be back next Wednesday at 9. And until then, you guys take it easy and build a bunch of models. And I'll see you next week.